Hi folks, Jeff Jones, Vice President, UFCW Local 1459 with a campaign update on our Members First campaign. We're having a lot of great conversations this weekend in the locations, talking with members, and we will carry it forward to the elections. I am disturbed by the way that some of the past accomplishments are being painted by the current president as far as what was accomplished and what was not accomplished. And I would like to go through three of them with you. This is hardly exhaustive, but it's three pretty important things that I think members should understand, especially the Stop and Shop folks. So the three things are hazard pay, your health and welfare plan, and your pension plan. So let's start with hazard pay. The president right now is trumpeting the fact that he secured hazard pay for you. What actually happened was he got an email the same way I did from the International and from Region 1 of UFCW announcing that congratulations, we got hazard pay. And that's where the 10% came from. It came from a national bargaining effort by UFCW that was then relayed to the local UFCW affiliates. So if we go back and look at the record, locally we were arguing for $3 an hour, $4 an hour, whatever. We got an email that said 10%. Now 10% is nice if you're a full-timer making 25 to 30 bucks an hour. That works out pretty good. But 10% for a part-time worker who is about at least 80%, if not more, of the workforce at Stop and Shop isn't such a great deal, really, especially when non-union Big Y in New England is paying $2 an hour, especially when River Valley Co-op, which I represent, negotiated $2 an hour, which is still being paid to this point in time. So the notion that hazard pay was secured by the personal actions of the president is a bit misleading. Let's talk about health and welfare. In the newspaper that you recently got, it suggested that the benefit package would be increasing. This remains to be seen. What I think, on the one hand, we were able to preserve our health and welfare fund and then be able to merge in with 4 other UFCW locals to create an overall UFCW plan. And that's great. That's a real accomplishment. However, the actual bargaining that took place to merge all those funds, I think, will hurt UFCW Local 1459 members going forward. We haven't seen the exact numbers released yet, but I think that the outcome will probably be less benefits at a higher cost, because we had the best plan of all the 5 locals. We had the best plan with the lowest costs. And when you merge that, that's going to happen. So it's kind of misleading to trumpet it in the union newspaper the way the president does, that this is going to result in increased benefits. That's a bit misleading. But last but not least, let's talk about the pension plan. Now, the pension plan is a national plan. And the first thing to remember is what I've already said in past meetings, is that in bargaining in Providence, Rhode Island, the president and I and the rest of the local were able to secure the numbers that we needed going in. We did that. We met our fiduciary responsibility. However, the national plan is a national plan, and there are other repercussions that we are not able to control in Western Massachusetts. And it got to the point where there was an offer made on the table, and there was a deal struck under international leadership to allow Royal Ahold and 2 other grocery giants to exit the National Pension Fund in exchange for a set amount of compensation, and the funds would move forward. Now, it remains to be seen how that's going to break down. But I don't really want to talk about that so much as what was the role of the president. The president is trumpeting the fact that he was able to bring this down. This was another international UFCW union negotiated agreement that was passed down to the locals, and each respective local would ratify it. That's what happened. There were conference calls, but it basically was driven by the international. But how did that break down locally? We had a 14, 15-page memorandum of agreement that was never shared with the staff, to my knowledge, and the rest of UFCW 1459 until we asked for it. And by the time we asked for it, it was after the fact. The deal was done. We were never consulted. To my knowledge, nobody else in the office of 1459 was consulted for this. Secondly, this 14-page memorandum of agreement, or really anything in the whole process, was never given to our legal department for their input and recommendations going forward. Now, we have legal folks that are on retainer for a reason. They're the best in the business. And Pio Rome is the best in the business for us. And they were never given this document. How do we know that? Because they told us. Third, we know that he gave the MOA to a former president and in the process said, I don't really understand it. And yet when that document was given to that former president, it was already signed. Which basically means he signed a document that he didn't fully understand. Not good. But the real icing on the cake is the way the pension ratification meeting was held, which I already talked about briefly in an earlier video this morning. And that is that we have ballpark figured 1,200 people that may have been able to participate in a pension ratification meeting. And those are held because it is a change in economic conditions and it's subject to ratification of the membership, and that's why it takes place. So this was a hastily called meeting. As you know, Stop and Shop has advanced scheduling. It's not easy to just drop and tweak a schedule so you can go to a meeting. But this was an instance of a quickly announced meeting, one time, one place, one location, and one method of voting. Okay? And out of that roughly 1,200 possible people that could have been there, give or take 100 either way, maybe, I don't know, we had 60 people that actually participated. When you throw the staff out of those 60, we probably had about 52 people out of 1,200 that participated in that meeting. And it was a hastily called meeting. And it was basically, here's a PowerPoint. What do you think? Any questions? All in favor, aye. Now, if you think that's informing the membership, all these things I've talked about, hazard pay, health and welfare, pension, if you think that that's involving the membership, rank and file people, in what's going on and how's it going on and listening for input, then vote for the incumbent. But I don't think that represents the membership at all. And that's why we call our campaign members first, because there's one thing I can tell you with certainty, is we're not going to do any of that. We're not going to fast forward something through that hasn't been studied and looked at. In fact, in the case of the pension, we might have preliminary meetings and then have another meeting to actually vote on the document once people understand what it means, or at least have the ability to ask intelligent questions to clarify and understand what it means. And that's the way to treat the membership. So I just wanted to set the record straight on a few things that have been uttered in the last few days. And thank you very much, and have a great day. Thanks.